So good afternoon students. So we start with the second part, that is a small sample. So in the small sample we have to study the t distribution to see if we have a sample with 30 member or less than 30 member, or we can say the element of the sample. In large sample, if we have an element more than 30, that is called as a large sample. If we have a sample in which we have only 30 or less than 30 members or element, such a sample we call as a small sample. So here we use the student t-test. So in a student t-test, it consists of two types of problems. Testing the hypothesis that population mean is mu. Means what happened here we are given a sample. From the sample mean we have to conclude about the given population mean is correct or not correct. Second type, we are given a two sample and two mean, and then we have to conclude that both are come from the same population. The sample which we have taken two different, that mean, from their mean we can just find out the mean of the given population is same. So these two types of problem we have to study in t distribution. So come to the procedure for type 1, testing the hypothesis that population mean is mu. So learn here the procedure how to we solve the problem. So in this case, first step is our null hypothesis. First we have to support the given problem. So according to the problem, but in this you have to fix your null hypothesis that our given population mean is correct, and alternate hypothesis is the opposite of that mean. Population mean is not correct. So here we have to calculate the statistics. So in the first formula for t, what is the formula for t? T is equal to x bar mu upon s divided by square root n minus 1. So here s is a small. So now see what is the meaning. X bar means the sample mean. So which one is the sample is given, and for that we denote the mean by x bar. Here mu is a mean for population, and small s is the standard deviation for sample. So if we are given the values of a sample, then how we can calculate the standard deviation? By this formula, x minus x bar summation of square and then take summation divided by n and square root. So this is a formula to calculate the standard deviation. We have another formula. In this formula, if we are given unbiased standard deviation for standard deviation of population, this is the capital S, the small s we use for the standard deviation for a sample. So in this case our formula is become x bar minus mu, numerator is same, but only is the here we have to write capital S, that is the unbiased estimator. So see in the problem, if this word is given, that means capital S is given, and in this case our t formula x bar mu capital S upon root n minus 1, here is n. So this difference we have to check in a problem, and for that you have to find out a capital mod t, means calculate the values, it values comes to be positive or negative, and then find out its mod t, means mod t is always positive. After fourth step, what do you take? Level of significance. So level of significance, it depends on the problem. Either they will give at the end, consider the level of significance 5%, 2%, 1%, whatever. If not given, then by default you consider as a 5%, that is 0.05. How to find the degree of freedom? That is the step 5th. The degree of freedom, the number of sample, the element is given in a sample, that is n minus 1. So that will give the degree of freedom. Then you have to find the critical values. So what is the critical values? So at this significance level and degree of freedom, so we have to calculate the table values of t. So as I told you that my previous notes, how to find the values for table t, means just we have to see this vertical column for degree of freedom and horizontal row for this level, and the intersection point will give the values of t, that is given at the end of the Kumbhojkar book. You see the Kumbhojkar book. And then last step, that is step 8, decision. We have to take a decision. If the calculate values of mod t is less than table values of t, then we have to accept the null hypothesis. Means that value we have calculated, and that values if less than the table values, then we have to accept the null hypothesis. Otherwise we have to accept the alternate hypothesis. Means if the calculated value is greater than table value, then we have to accept alternate hypothesis and we have to reject a null hypothesis. So see, these are the problem that I have written here. So problem 1, 2, 3 and so these are our problem 4, 5, 6, 7. So out of this problem I have solved only 2 problems. So if you read it properly, you can understand the concept. So I have here consider as a see our first problem. So here see, we are given a 9 items of a sample had following values. So these are the 9. Does the mean of 9 items differ significantly from the assumed population mean? So now see here in this case, obvious it is a small sample because see we are given a 9 values, sample having 9 values. So it is a small size, that is n hour is equal to 3, 6, 9. N is 9 means it is a small sample. So small sample means we have to here use a t distribution. So whenever is the question is given, mostly is large sample and small sample, you have to read the question twice and write down first what is the given data. So see in this problem how to solve. So you get now. So here we are given the small n is a 9, that is the sample size, and the population mean is given 47.5. Since sample size is small, we use a t-test. So in this, according to our procedure, first we have to assume that the null hypothesis mu is equal to mean equal to mu. So here we have to assume that our mean is equal to 47.5. Alternate is opposite of this. So we have to now calculate the statistics. So we require this formula. Why we require this formula? Because in our question there is a no word of the unbiased. There is a no word of the unbiased estimator in our problem. So here we use this formula. So for this formula we require x is a mean, that is we have to calculate, and small s is a standard deviation, that also we require to calculate. So see here we are given a 9 values x 45 to 51. So first we find out the average. So how to find the average? So in this case average to find number of add this from 45 to 51 and divide by number, that is 9. So we get a mean is 49.1. Now what we do? We subtract from the mean. So we get these values. Then after take the squaring of this and take the summation of this. So what is our formula for standard deviation? H square root of this. So substitute these values here. We get values this 22.469. So that is value for the standard deviation. Now next part, substitute these values in our formula. So this is our formula and then we get a mod t. So t values either it is positive or negative, but after that you take a means always we have to consider the positive values. Level of significance in our problem is not a mention. So in this case you assume at a 0.05. Degree of freedom, see we are given a 9 values of a sample, so degree of freedom n minus 1, that is 8. Now critical values, at this level of significance and degree of freedom 8, the table values of t, so that is at the end of the Kumbhotchkar book you will get a table values. So these values is the 2.36, means what do you do? See the table of t distribution, vertical line you will arrive at a degree, because vertical column is for degree of freedom, so that is 8, and horizontally it is given as a 0.1, 0.5, we will get 0.5. Now this 8 and 0.5, this intersection point will give the table values. So now see in this the calculated values is a 1.8, table values are 2.3. So since the calculated values of this is less than table values, so we have to accept the null hypothesis. That's all. Similarly, see the problem number 6. So what is our problem number 6? See the problem number 6. So in this problem, see, read the question twice. random sample of size 16 from a normal population show a mean of and sum of the square of a deviation from mean is this. Can we say that population has mean this? So now see in this problem what is the data given to you. So in this we are given that n is equal to 16, that is sample size. Sample size we use the t-test, that is mean is equal to given as a mean population, and x bar here is directly is given. And also one thing is given, it is given that the sum of the square from the mean is 843.75, that is also given. So in this case again according to procedure, null hypothesis assume that mean is as a population mean, that is a given, that is a right, alternate is not equal to t. So in this we use same formula because unbiased standard deviation body is given, is not given, we use this formula. So in this case already we are given this data, substitute the values of the standard deviation formula, we get this value. Now substitute this standard deviation and mean mu, all values, we get the values of t. Now see here values of t is a negative, but we have to consider always the absolute values of t. So therefore level of significance in this case not a given, assume by default 0.05. Degree of freedom, that is a 16 minus 1 15. Critical at this level of significance, degree of freedom, the see the table values in at the page at the end book of the Kumbhochkar t distribution, means vertically at the degree of 15 and here horizontally given a intersection point is 2.3. So now in this case see the calculate values is greater than the table values, so we reject the null hypothesis, means alternately we have to accept the alternate hypothesis. Okay, फिर next we go for type 2.